Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. It is I, Caroline of Inherited Salt. I am the daughter of Leanne. For those that don't know, I think a lot of you do know. But I have my own little food corner of the online world, and it's called Inherited Salt. And so every once in a while, I'll jump on here and do one of her cooking lessons for you guys. Last night, I made two of my recipes. I made these delicious pan-seared butter braised pork chops with an herby white wine reduction sauce that are so good. Like, I feel like there's a lot of really crappy pork chop recipes out there, and pork gets a bad rep because it can be really dry, but get it bone in, get it thick cut, and use that recipe and it will just change your whole perspective on pork. I actually developed the recipe for Saving Dinner 2 years ago, I think. And it is always my go-to. In addition to the pork chops, I made my Parmesan spring risotto. I love risotto. It is so, so good. It's nice, creamy, starchy, great way to use rice and broth and wine. So it's kind of, I feel like it's a good like pantry recipe. You have like cheese and butter, and those would be the things that aren't pantry-ish. And I like to add asparagus to my risotto because it is asparagus season. So yeah, I have a little bit left over, not a lot, but a little bit. So I am going to make an adapted version of Bon Appetit's arancini recipe, which is basically fried risotto balls, which sound pretty dang good. Though I am thankful that I don't have a ton of risotto because we don't need a lot of fried rice balls. But so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with the cold risotto, and you want it nice and chilled. And you can use, the recipe in Bon Appetit calls for mozzarella. I'm gonna be using this really beautiful aged cheddar from Kerrygold, just because I like it better. And I really like how cheddar and Parmesan go together, and there's already Parmesan in the risotto. So we are going to scoop and roll. I'm gonna grab about a 1/4 cup of chilled risotto, and I'm gonna make a little patty with it. Then we're gonna plop some of this cheese right in the center. Then you're gonna form it into a little ball to cover the cheese. It's gonna be messy work, but it's worth it. All right. There we go, little ball. Got cheese in the center. I'm gonna put it on a parchment lined baking sheet. I'm gonna continue to do that. Actually, my asparagus is a bit big for the rice balls. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be fine. The asparagus will be good by itself.
Yeah, we'll just eat the asparagus on its own, which is still delicious. I have beggars in the kitchen. Got a Luna and a Dakota.
There they are. And you got one sleeping over there in the corner.
Yep, all three, the whole pack. All right, I am very excited. This is actually my first time trying arancini. Hope I'm saying it right. So I am excited to see how these turn out. Should be pretty good. But yeah, because I think for me, risotto is just one of those things that just doesn't reheat well. It's just good when it's nice and fresh and creamy and straight out of the pot right after you finish making it. Because you want it to get really starchy when you make risotto. And so it's one of those where like reheating it, it's kind of gluey when it's after it's been chilled. So that's the one nice thing about this recipe, is that you want chilled risotto. So let's see, I'm gonna pull out this asparagus piece. We're gonna just crunch on that. Okay. For anyone just joining, I'll tell you what I'm making again, because I know a lot of people join in a little later. I have leftover risotto from my recipe for Parmesan spring risotto. It's on my site. It's linked in the caption of this video. I'll share it again in a little bit once we wrap up the video. And I have leftover risotto that has been chilling since last night, and I am making arancini with it, which is fried risotto balls. So I'm making this little patty with the chilled risotto. I'm sticking some aged cheddar in the center of it. Then just covering it up, turning it into a little ball, covering up the cheese. And then plopping it onto a little parchment-lined baking sheet. But anyways, enough about me. How's everyone's Monday? What did you guys make over the weekend? What did you cook?
Oh, so it's arancini?
Arancini?
Oh, is that right? Catherine was saying that you do it with a CH sound.
A CH sound, okay.
She's Italian, so she would know.
Okay. I thought that, and then I think I looked up some video on pronouncing it, and it led me astray. So,
Perfect.
Know.
And then the link for the Parmesan spring risotto was just posted in the comments as well. So.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, it's one of my favorite recipes. So with risotto, just know I had Samuel, who's turning into my sous chef, man the risotto while I manned the pork chops last night.
She said she made it, but really I made it.
Okay. I closely monitored him making it.
No, I made it. It's fine.
Okay. But risotto is one of those things where you can't just leave it to cook on its own. You have to closely monitor it. So it is a bit of a labor of love. You just want, I'm trying to think. You want, because you have to constantly stir, because you're always trying to develop the starches in it, and you don't want it to brown or get burn on the bottom of the pan. So it's like one of those where if you're gonna make it, you're going to be chained to the stove. It's worth it because it delivers just pure deliciousness, but you can't walk away or do something else while you're making risotto. You have to be right there holding its hand for the whole process. And so Samuel got to stir the risotto because there's this one part where you add continuously add broth, and once it absorbs you add more broth while you stir. And so that was Samuel's job last night, was broth and stir, broth and stir, broth and stir. Well, I seared up the pork chops, which also need a lot of attention.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were. And Samuel's not a big pork chop person, so for him to say they're good.
I typically feel like pork is too dry, but Caroline's been doing thicker cut, so it's
And bone-in.
And
it has
so,
like a nice layer of fat on the edge, and you want all that fat to render when
Yeah.
you sear it. It's just so good.
and plus, pork's usually only over dry if it's overcooked, which the extra thick is easier because it's easier to not overcook.
And the bone-in helps protect you from overcooking because it helps keep the meat more tender while you cook. Okay, my last little rice ball. So this just makes 5, which is perfect. It'll be a little snack for us, and we won't feel like deep fried human beings afterwards, which is always nice. Just gonna rinse my hands, but you can zoom in on those balls because they look like
Yep.
nice little,
And that's the cheese we used.
yeah, Kerrygold aged cheddar. So good. All right. So now I'm gonna plop these little rice balls, the risotto balls, into the freezer to chill for 5-10 minutes, just so they firm up and they'll hold their shape when we dredge them and fry them in just a bit. So in they go. I have room here.
Yeah, we have a very full freezer.
Yeah, so we have 2 freezers. We have this little guy, and then we have a big one in our laundry room. And last weekend, a local market down the street from us, they do pasture-raised chicken, and they were clearing out their 2019 frozen stock to make room for the new chicken that they're starting to process for this season. So they reached out to me and were like, hey, do you want any of this? We have a lot of feet, skin, heads, basically a lot of stock, or I like to use chicken skin to render the fat, and so I have chicken fat for cooking, which is so good. But yeah, they had like all these miscellaneous parts and turkeys. I got 3 whole turkeys. Basically, my entire freezer is now just full of poultry. So I barely fit it all, but it's great. I'm excited. It means lots of broth, chicken fat, and turkey. You know, you don't have to wait for Thanksgiving to have turkey. You can have it whenever. Okay. So we got our risotto balls in the freezer. They're firming up. Let's prep the rest of what we're gonna need here. So we're gonna set up a little dredging station. First, we're gonna start with an egg that we're gonna just whisk together here. Never not get egg white on my hands. Okay. You just gently beat it. Okay, and then we're gonna have flour. And actually the station is gonna be set up kind of like this. Arrange everything just so. And the Bon Appetit recipe calls for half a cup of flour, but that's for making like 14 or 18, I don't remember, but a lot of the arancini, but I am only making 5. So I really don't need that much. I'm eyeballing it. I'm not a big measurer. So that should be plenty.
Yeah, Catherine, she would, Leanne would take the feet if we'd give them to her, but we're going to make our own bone broth with those. So.
She would take them. Well, and I'm hoping that they'll eventually be able to ship their meat because it's excellent. It's such good chicken. But they do have this big sticker on all their products that says this product may not leave the state of Oregon. So I don't think I could legally send it to her.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah, and then Veronica, yeah, you missed the first few minutes, but we're making arancini.
we're making arancini, which is fried risotto balls. I made risotto last night, and risotto is just one of those things that doesn't reheat super well because it gets really gluey because, you know, it's one of those dishes where you really develop the starches, and that's what makes it so wonderful. However, it's just not a great leftover. And because we're 2 people and my risotto recipe makes enough for 4, we inevitably had leftovers, but a great way to use leftovers is for arancini because you want chilled risotto. And so I have them chilling in the freezer right now to firm them up, but I basically made little patties, snuck some aged cheddar into the center of them, rolled them up, threw them in the freezer, and now we're prepping the dredging station.
Oh, watch out, Leanne's watching.
Uh-oh. Not Leanne. This is not paleo or keto friendly. This is high carb, but it's so good.
That's why we're only making 5.
That's why, yes, thankfully we're only making 5 because we really don't need any more than that. It's gonna be a great little afternoon snack for us. Okay, now this calls, like the recipe says to blitz panko breadcrumbs in food processor. I'm just gonna kind of give them a quick little smash in my mortar and pestle because I don't want to have to get out the food processor.
Your mom said friend risotto balls. Good grief, it's a carb fest. I think she meant to say fried.
I think she did. That's
But they will be a good friend to us as well. So it's not necessarily wrong. Carbs are always a good friend to us.
Amen.
Not later on, but
It is a carb fest, but Leanne, you wish you were here. I know you do.
what are you doing right now?
Okay, so I'm just grinding up the panko breadcrumbs. It says to blitz them in the food processor. I just don't want to have to wash the food processor and get it all out just for this little bit of panko. So I'm just kind of grinding them up in here because you just want them slightly finer. Yeah, I'm not gonna be too fussed about it. I think it'll still turn out okay. What do you think, Luna? He's so sweet.
Luna.
They love to help. I won't pet her. I got a few comments last time they were in the video, and God forbid I touch my dog and then cook.
But luckily, we like their dog hair in our food,
I love
so
it. It's really fibrous.
yeah, it works well for us.
I mean,
If people were coming over, though, I do understand.
Oh yeah. We're just cooking for ourselves here. We're all in quarantine still. Yeah, we are feeding ourselves, and chances are there's probably dog hair in everything we're making, anyways, because that is the story of our lives.
But just a little bit of dog hair.
It's just a smidge.
That's good for you.
Let's do one more little batch, and then we'll call it a day. Alright. Just about there. Oh! The dog's playing. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. And now, I'm going to seal this back up. The dogs are very loud on the hardwood floor, so I apologize if that's all you can. Alright, I'm gonna season my flour and panko with some salt and pepper. I use kosher salt, so don't be alarmed at the amount I'm adding. Get some fresh pepper. It's just one of those things. Always season everything, every step of the way. You don't want bland food. Get a little mix. Oh, all the peps are riled up. Okay. And I'm gonna mix this. I'm already covered in flour. I transferred that, as we all know, I've been making a lot of bread the last few days.
A few weeks.
A few weeks, I'm sorry, a couple months now. I think one of the dogs has a toy. All I can hear is them running through the house. And so I got like bulk flour, and actually I'll show you. I got these big old bins from like a restaurant supply store to hold all my flour in. So now I'm very well stocked. I have bread flour, rye, and red fife, all of which are locally sourced, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that bread stream alive. But anyways, my poor mother killed her starter in record time. It's not that easy to kill, but she managed it.
Catherine, what was your bread fail? She said it was her first one today.
Uh-oh.
We've had a few too.
What happened? Yeah, we've had some bread fails. Tell me about it.
All right, now she's grabbing it out of the freezer.
Yeah, these are my chilled, they're nice, they firmed up a bit, risotto balls. So, what I think I'm gonna do is just put them back on here. So, I'm gonna make some room for myself. Yeah. Samuel is sneaking little pieces of cheese.
She doesn't love aged cheddar.
Okay. Just get all this out of the way.
Heavy and brick-like. Funny enough, it had great holes and good taste. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some that are kind of all over the place.
Had that happened to me when I changed up my flour. I don't know if you're using more whole wheat flour, but that could be why it turned out that way. All right, now I'm gonna take these little chilled balls and we're gonna dredge in flour first.
Do restaurant supply stores deliver? Yes, actually, that's where we got those. Webstaurant is where we bought those, and they were a pretty good price.
Yeah, Webstaurant. It was super easy. It's just cheaper because Amazon like has those like big guys on their site, But honestly, like it's just, even though you have to pay for shipping, it's still cheaper ultimately to get them through Webstaurant. So
Yeah.
that's what I found at least. So for the big ones with a nice sealed lid. Okay, so dredged in flour. Now we're going into the egg. You're just kind of gonna roll it around in there.
Catherine said she did change her flour. She used more wheat.
Yeah, that's why. It's gonna be thirstier, so if you up your hydration, add more water, you're gonna get a better, like it's not gonna be as dense.
Yeah, so if the more you use a whole wheat, the more water.
It's a thirstier,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, you wanna make sure you get the egg everywhere, otherwise you're gonna get dry patches that the panko won't stick to. Okay, now we're gonna roll in panko.
It already looks good.
I know. I'm very excited. Okay, I'm kind of gonna press it in so the panko sticks. And there we have it, one done.
Yep.
I'm putting it back over here on the opposite end. And messy work going for the rest of them. So yeah, Catherine, if you up your hydration, well, do you know the percentage of your hydration in your bread? 'Cause that would be,
Yeah, like water to flour.
yeah, because I don't know if
And
you've
type of flour.
noticed in bread baking, but they have what they call a baker's formula. So I feel like a lot of bread recipes are 70 or 75% hydration, but I didn't know if you know what your hydration level is, I might be able to help you with where you should try to get it.
All right, Michelle, we are making, what is it again? I can't.
Arancini.
Arancini. It is fried risotto balls. So it's risotto with, we put aged cheddar in the
So
center.
if you come over here, like if you
Yeah.
come above me.
Like right here?
Yeah. Well, just like if you come over.
I gotcha. So yeah, it's risotto with aged cheddar in the center. And then we're,
so it's leftover risotto that's been chilled.
so here's one that's done right there. These ones are just the risotto with aged cheddar in the center.
Yeah, it's chilled risotto that's been left over. And then I put aged cheddar in the center of the balls, put them into little balls, chilled them in the freezer, and now we're dredging them. And so first we dredge in flour, and I season the flour with a little salt and pepper. And so here we go, looking good. And then we roll into a beaten egg.
Veronica was wondering if, do you have to do that if you use rye flour too? I'm assuming maybe a little bit extra water, she's wondering.
Rye flour
For sourdough.
for sourdough. Yeah, rye flour is a whole grain, so it's also going to be thirsty. So if you, just unplugging my phone from the wall. We're
That's
fine.
fine.
We're
Good.
fine.
You've got enough.
All right. Just going to dredge here. Yeah, if you are working with rye, I would definitely up your hydration level. Like if I do a higher wheat, I've been doing a hydration level of at least like 90%, even like 100%. It depends on how much wheat. If you're doing like mostly wheat, just whole grains, then you might want to do 100% hydration. So, because it's much thirstier, and so you want it to, if you want that nice, really silky inside that gets a nice rise that's not super dense, you're gonna need to up the hydration for sure. So messy. Glad I'm only making 5 of these.
We got 3 done, 2 left. She's doing second to last.
Here we go. Okay. Samuel is sneaking more cheese. Glad I could provide him with the snack while he holds the phone, while he films. All right. So we dredge. Also, the panko I seasoned with salt and pepper. I know I was talking about the process before I got caught back up in the sourdough questions. Do love my sourdough questions. I'm about to start experimenting with adding flavors to my bread this week because I feel like I finally found my right formula for a basic loaf. So I'm gonna start adding more. I have been adding a lot of fun things to the outside of my bread, like sesame seeds or everything bagel seasoning, which was delicious. So Now I'm gonna start adding stuff inside, which I can't wait to try. Okay, last one. Alrighty. Just have really clumpy, gross fingers here.
It happens.
It happens. Alright. We're almost there. These will chill again. I'm not going to throw them in the freezer. I'm just going to throw these into the fridge once I'm done. Just so they stay firm. They stay a little cold because you don't want them falling apart when you drop them into the hot oil. Alright. Yum. Alright. Last one is all done. There we go.
Lori wants to know if you can come to her house and help her with her sourdough. Well, what's going on? Lori, what's going on with it? Maybe we can help you from here.
Yeah, Lori, tell me about your sourdough woes. I feel like I've been doing a lot of troubleshooting of my own the last few weeks since I've started, so maybe I can help. All right, popping my finished dredged risotto balls into the fridge, if I can find room. Okay. They barely fit, but we're in. All right. Here, all this. Actually, gonna dump this out.
She said hers are okay, but she would like a larger rise.
A larger
Or a
rise.
bigger rise.
Okay. What about what type of flour are you using? How much flour? And then how much water are you adding?
Lori said she's not kidding. We both can come over. Thank you, Lori. If you're in Oregon, we could help you out. But yeah, if you let us know how much water you're putting in and what kind of flour and how much of it you're putting in too.
Yeah, all those things will help. Me help you. Cleaning as I go. All right. Oil time. I'm gonna heat this up while the risotto balls chill. The arancini.
Oh, she's in Southern California. Well, it's not too far away.
That isn't too far. Alrighty, here we go.
All right.
Just
Gotta use a lot of it.
yeah, you do. Okay. I feel like that's plenty.
She said she adds water till it feels right.
Yeah.
She said she guesses she needs a recipe. It just helps having a recipe. I mean, you're not wrong in just kind of doing it till it feels right. But as far as like troubleshooting, it is nice to have a recipe because you can change it up a little bit day to day and see what helps. Oh, your mom said, "Holy cow, we're all going to die." That's just for frying. You got to cover it.
Yeah, it's just frying.
This
This is fine, man.
Veronica, it's just enough oil to cover it, I believe.
Yeah, you want about like 2 inches in the bottom of a heavy bottomed pan. I'm using canola. You could use probably peanut oil, any kind of neutral oil for frying that can do a higher temp. So I just grabbed canola. I don't fry often, so I will say this is a bit of an indulgence for sure. But yeah, it'll be so good.
Oh, beautiful glassware. I was like, what are they talking about? And then I realized it's the... Thank you. That is, your mom said use avocado oil. We could. It would just take a lot of bottles of it because we have some, but it's like smaller
For me,
bottles.
I don't want to use avocado oil for this just because a lot of this is going to be waste because I'm just using it to fry, and I prefer to actually cook with avocado oil.
I like the taste of it, yeah.
It's more expensive, so I don't want to like pour a crap ton of avocado oil into a vat to heat up. And
But you could use it, yes.
You could. It does reach a high
If you
temp.
find yourself with a lot of extra avocado
Pretty
oil.
neutral. Yeah, but I just used a cheap old Crisco here because that was what was on sale at the store. But yeah, I was gonna run to Trader Joe's. I haven't been to Trader Joe's since
We can't get in there.
quarantine.
Yeah.
I haven't been in since probably the beginning, like the first week of March. When all this first broke out, we did one big Trader Joe's run. But yeah, there's just, our Trader Joe's at least in particular always has this huge line. And for me, I'm like, by the time I get in and out of there.
Just say no to crappy oil. Sorry, your mom.
What?
Your mom said just say no to crappy oil.
Just say no. Oh, I see a dog here floating.
But yeah, Trader Joe's has been very, very busy every time we come.
It's been like so. For me, I'm like, you know what? By the time I wait in line for however long it takes, and then wait to get out because they're very specific on how you.
Which we
check
totally
out,
understand.
I would rather just go to Whole Foods and spend maybe $5 more than I would have spent at Trader Joe's, and get all my time back.
Bye, Leanne.
Where are you going, Leanne?
She has a coaching. She's got to run. I have a coaching client.
Oh, sure. Coaching client is more important than your first one.
We do understand why Trader Joe's is so busy. I mean, it's such a small store. Whole Foods is just easier because it's a bigger store to go to sometimes. We do that, or there's a local place called New Seasons, and they're a good one to get into too.
Yeah, no, Trader Joe's, well, I feel like every Trader Joe's, no matter which one I go to, is always small. Like, it drives me crazy just shopping there on busy days, like on the weekend in general, because it's small. But of course they have like a customer cap right now, like most places do, which is good. It's good for like safety reasons, and I like that they do that. But for me, I'm like, you know, I could just go, like Whole Foods also has a cap, but it's just
a lot larger.
They're a bigger store, so they have a higher capacity, and they just don't have as long of a wait. And I tried to just shop their sales, so it keeps it in the normal price range, because they actually have great sales, and their produce is usually cheaper than like the regular, like we have Safeway, that's our grocery store. It's, I think, a Kroger company, but their produce, Whole Foods produce, has proven to be like cheaper than Safeway, so, which is interesting because, you know, it gets the bad rap, or it's called whole paycheck or whatever. But
Michelle was wondering, how do you know if the oil is ready to cook?
You know, Michelle, you should have a thermometer for such things.
Well, she said she doesn't cook very often, so maybe she doesn't have one.
Well, no, I'm saying
we
you should have a thermometer. I do not have a thermometer for this. It's one of those things I need. I think I had one and it broke. I don't know. But yeah, we're just gonna watch it. It's starting to shimmer. If you look in there, you can see it starting to shimmer. And then what I'll probably do is just like do a couple drops of water to see if it gets all loud and sizzly, and we'll say it's ready. We're just kind of winging it today. We're gonna see what happens.
All right, here's the test. A little bit, not much. Probably could use a little bit more time, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're waiting to hear like that frying noise. That's pretty close.
I think we might be there. I
Okay.
say let's go for it. We'll do a tester.
Melissa said you could also put the handle of a wooden spoon in and look for bubbles.
Oh.
It's a good trick. I didn't know about that.
Look for bubbles on the spoon.
Oh, like kind of like I'm assuming looking for bubbles, like frying bubbles around it. Yeah.
All right. We're boobly. I have my handy dandy spider strainer. So, let's do one little.
Melissa said it's safer than adding water, which I understand. Yeah, adding.
Yeah. Water, especially with this much oil, can be splatter.
That makes sense.
All right. In she goes. Oh, probably could be a little hotter.
Yeah, it could be. It's not doing too bad though.
It'll be fine. It's a tester. It's the first.
We're pretty easy going.
I'm not fussed about it.
There we go. It's actually starting to get going pretty good now.
So typically, I think you fry these for 6 to 8 minutes.
Oh, Lori, that's awesome. She's sewing hats and making masks for her nurse friends.
That's awesome.
She said she loves anything fried. Oh, me too. It's a little too much. That's why we're only doing 5.
We don't fry at home very often.
We're actually looking to get into some sewing projects as well. We thought about making masks. I know some people that work in some hospitals close by. We thought trying to get in there and make some extras. So that's great. A little slow going. It could be definitely hotter, but it's not bad.
Yeah. It's coming along.
What are we looking for?
Well, it's gonna take a few minutes. Oh, we're getting golden. It's starting to.
You golden color.
Yeah. Try to flip it with this big boy. Come on. There we go. You can see the golden color starting to get on the bottom. But yeah, I'm gonna wait till the oil heats up a bit more before I plop the other balls in here. Ooh, these are gonna be so good.
All that glassware we have is from thrift stores mainly, isn't it?
It is. I am a serial thrifter. I love thrifting, and that's one thing I've been really jonesing for. I miss thrifting so badly. But that's where I find probably most of our things, most of our homewares, most of our even furniture,
Clothes.
good chunk of clothes, shoes, thrifting. I love it.
There we go.
So,
Getting a little bit better.
yeah. Trying to make those sounds I like. All right, let's add a couple more balls. And hello.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh. I think the last time I fried food was almost this time last year. We had some friends over and we went to the farmer's market and we got a big haul of delicious seasonal produce. Our farmer's markets in Portland are insane. Like just the most incredible produce you can imagine. And we got these squash blossoms and we stuffed them with this ricotta mixture.
Good.
And then we battered them and then fried them and then dipped them in like this really delicious aioli.
Yeah, they were good.
Ooh, those were dangerous. Like I said, we don't fry often. Like this is our once a year frying time.
Lori was saying that she loves thrifting as well. She said, "See, we can all hang out. we need shopping buddies."
Ooh, this guy's looking good. The first pancake in there, looking nice and golden all over.
Yeah, and those are going a bit faster too, so it's perfect.
All right, let's plop in the last couple. Why not? There's enough room.
There we go. Got our assistants over here, making sure it's safe outside.
Yeah, that's Luna and Dakota.
Luna's on the right, Dakota's on the left. Fox is asleep somewhere. Oh, he's over here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That first one's looking really good.
Oh, I'm so excited. Kind of raise it up here and see.
Oh,
Ooh.
man.
I think we're almost there with him. You just want a nice deep golden color on the outside. That's what you're looking for. So it takes a few minutes.
We do not have savers. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm assuming a thrift store?
Savers?
She lives in New Hampshire, she said.
I don't know what Savers is.
Melissa said she's in coastal Georgia and loves to fry local fish and seafood.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, if you can get it fresh, I mean, that is amazing.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Okay, so it is a Savers is a thrift store. We always like new thrift stores. We try to go to local ones, and I mean, of course, we go to Goodwill occasionally and some things like that. But there's a lot of really good local thrift stores that are kind of like one-offs that are great to go to.
Oh yeah, local ones are always great, especially because I don't know if y'all's local Goodwills have done this, but sometimes the Goodwills around here they can act like they're a consignment shop and price things at outrageous prices. I just remember going to Goodwills when every shirt was like $2.99, but that is not anymore. Anyways, get in on this sucker. Look at him.
Oh, that's perfect.
He's beautiful. All right, popping him over here. One down.
They're all getting close.
Yeah. Got that oil right at that right heat. Okay, let me give you an oil temp for if anyone has a thermometer. So basically, you want your oil to get to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you have a thermometer, that's the temperature you're looking for. I do not have a thermometer, so it's just eyeballing it.
Still worked out well. Oh my gosh, they look amazing.
So good. Oh.
This is our first time making these as well, but they're very easy, as you guys can tell. A lot of room for beginners.
Alright, just finishing up the last two.
Getting close.
Yeah, look up there.
Nice.
They look so good. And the last one.
Oh my gosh. No one was hurt, but the whole apartment had to be repainted. Judy said the first time I tried to deep fry, I covered the pot to make the oil heat faster.
Oh no.
When I took the lid off, the oil caught fire. No one was hurt, but the apartment had to be repainted.
Oh god.
Oh, bye, Veronica.
Bye, Veronica. All
Man,
right.
Judy, that is a rough time to first deep fry. I wonder if you've ever tried it again. I don't know if I would. Not that you, I'm just saying if that would happen to me.
Can we just admire these beautiful, like, let's just look at them in the light. Hello, beautiful creatures. Oh, I'm hoping for a cheese pull. That's
Yeah, that'd be great.
what I want. Okay. Let's see.
Careful, they're going to be really hot.
I know, I'm trying to find the first one. I think it's this one, this little fella. Okay, we ready? Let's see if we get a cheese pull. That's all I
We'll
want.
see.
Oh, yes. Oh my god. Can we just take a moment to admire?
It does look good.
Okay, I'm gonna do a taste test because I should. You know, I'm gonna take one for the team.
We'll eat the carbs for you guys.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is the best decision I've made this whole pandemic.
Well, if we're going to do fried food once a year, I think this is a good choice.
This is the way to do it. Holy crap. Alright, it's worth it. Make it. It's delicious. Make my risotto at least. If you're not gonna make the fried balls.
The risotto's really good.
But the risotto is
And we have a link in the comments for that, but
link
yeah.
in the comments. I'll share it again on the main page for Saving Dinner. But thank you all for joining me on my deep frying adventure today. I'm Caroline from Inherited Salt. I'm Leanne's daughter, who also makes food that's maybe not always as healthy as Leanne's recipes, but equally delicious. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. Happy Monday, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.